Breaking news! Things are a little weird behind the scenes for the Miami Dolphins. Mike McDaniel's team just found themselves in an uncomfortable spotlight, and boy, does it hurt a little. I'll tell you everything that's been going on. But before I go any further, make sure you've hit the like button if you've been a Miami Dolphins fan since the 80s. It's great to see fans of all ages. If possible, comment something like this: the Miami Dolphins need a lot of tweaking. In your opinion, what could be changed about the team so that by 2025 we can at least make the playoffs? Your opinion is very important. Well, the Dolphins have now earned the dubious title of having the longest active drought between conference championship appearances in the NFL. Let that sink in. We haven't seen the Dolphins in a conference championship since 1992. That was over 3 decades ago. For some perspective, even the Jets, yes, the Jets, have been there more recently. That's a tough pill to swallow, folks. But let's break it down, because this is more than just a statistic. It's a call to action for the future of this franchise. To add fuel to the fire, the Dolphins' playoff win drought stretches all the way back to the year 2000. Remember that electric game when Lamar Miller went off for over 200 yards, sealing the victory in overtime? Yeah, that was the last time. It's been 24 seasons since the Miami Dolphins have tasted playoff victory, a stretch that outpaces even the Jets by a full decade. It's a historical context that's tough for any dedicated fan to grapple with. The New England Patriots may have dominated the AFC East during much of that time, but seeing other franchises rise and fall and still get postseason wins only amplifies the frustration. It's a harsh reminder of the mediocrity that has plagued this team for far too long. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. Let's talk about some silver linings. The Dolphins are in line to receive compensatory draft picks for the first time since 2020. For those unfamiliar with how these picks work, they're essentially awarded to teams that lose valuable players in free agency without replacing them with equally talented players. The Dolphins lost Christian Wilkins this offseason, who had an outstanding season, and they're projected to receive a third-round compensatory pick as a result. Similarly, Robert Hunt, who departed for Carolina, might net the team another third-round pick. These compensatory picks are invaluable, especially for a team that needs to rebuild and retool while managing its salary cap. Speaking of the draft, the Dolphins are expected to receive a total of 3 compensatory picks this year. This is a major win for a team looking to reload and build depth without breaking the bank. A third-round pick can be a game-changer, offering the opportunity to draft players who can become starters or key rotational pieces. It's a chance to find the next star, or at least a solid contributor, at positions of need. With this year's draft being deep in talent, particularly on the defensive and offensive lines, the Dolphins have a real opportunity to address critical gaps and set the stage for a brighter future. Now, let's shift gears to a feel-good story. Cameron "Big Cam" Ewing, the 38-year-old Miami native and beloved Dolphins defensive end, continues to defy father time. While his stats this season weren't eye-popping, his presence on the field and in the locker room was invaluable. Teams reportedly inquired about trading for him late in the season, but head coach Mike McDaniel stood firm, valuing Ewing's leadership and contributions. With Ewing turning 39 before the start of next season, the question looms: will he return, or is this the end of an incredible career? Ewing's impact goes beyond the numbers. He's a steadying force, a glue guy who leads by example. In a team filled with flashy personalities, Ewing is the quiet leader who just gets the job done. His potential return for another season would not only provide veteran leadership, but also bolster a defense that needs stability and experience. If this is truly his swan song, he leaves behind a legacy of professionalism, grit, and dedication that fans and teammates alike will remember fondly. So, Dolphins fans, this offseason presents a mix of frustration, hope, and uncertainty. On one hand, the historical droughts are glaring reminders of how far this franchise has to go. On the other, the compensatory picks and the potential to draft impact players offer a glimmer of hope. And then there's the question of what to do with veterans like Ewing, who embody the heart and soul of the team. What do you think, Dolphins Nation? Are these compensatory picks the spark we need to turn things around? Should Big Cam return for another season, or is it time to pass the torch to the next generation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As we continue looking at the Dolphins' current trajectory, it's crucial to examine the team's strategic priorities heading into the offseason. With the compensatory picks likely locked in, General Manager Chris Grier has a golden opportunity to maximize their value in a draft class loaded with talent, particularly in areas where the Dolphins desperately need reinforcements. Let's not sugarcoat it. The offensive line and defensive front are glaring weaknesses that need immediate attention. If the Dolphins can nail these picks, it could serve as the foundational step toward reversing decades of underachievement. Let's start with the offensive line, an area that has plagued the Dolphins for years. While losing Robert Hunt was a blow, this draft is deep in offensive linemen, and the Dolphins now have extra ammunition to find quality starters. Third-round picks are prime real estate for finding high-upside linemen who might not be immediate stars but can develop into reliable protectors of the quarterback. Tua Tagovailoa has shown flashes of brilliance when given time in the pocket, but his health and success hinge on upgrading the protection in front of him. These compensatory picks aren't just numbers on a draft board, they're lifelines for a team that has struggled to keep its franchise quarterback upright. On the defensive side of the ball, the loss of Christian Wilkins leaves a noticeable void in the trenches. The Dolphins need a player who can not only plug holes in the run game, but also generate pressure up the middle. With a strong crop of defensive linemen available this year, particularly in the mid-rounds, the team has a chance to find a long-term solution. If the Dolphins can land a disruptive force who brings energy and versatility, it could significantly bolster a defense that struggled with consistency last season. But let's not overlook the possibility of drafting playmakers at other positions. While the Dolphins have star power at wide receiver with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, the offense could benefit from adding depth, especially at tight end. A dynamic third-round pick at this position could provide another weapon for Tua and help the offense remain unpredictable. With a strong draft, the Dolphins could finally shift the narrative from missed opportunities to a bright future. Of course, draft success is only part of the equation. The Dolphins coaching staff will play a pivotal role in developing these young players. Head coach Mike McDaniel has shown he's capable of bringing innovation to the offense, but the defensive side of the ball still needs more cohesion and identity. If the Dolphins want to end their playoff drought and, eventually, their conference championship absence, the coaches need to elevate these prospects and integrate them into the team quickly. Now, let's circle back to the Cameron Ewing situation, because this storyline is more than just about football, it's about legacy. Ewing isn't just a player, he's a symbol of resilience and what it means to be a Miami Dolphin. If he decides to hang up his cleats, the Dolphins lose a veteran presence that's hard to replace. However, if he returns, it comes with its own set of challenges. At 39 years old, Ewing will need to manage his physical conditioning carefully to sustain another grueling NFL season. The coaching staff will also need to strategically utilize him, possibly in a reduced role, to keep him fresh for critical moments. And let's not forget what Ewing brings off the field. His leadership in the locker room, mentorship for younger players, and connection to the Miami community are irreplaceable. While the numbers matter, intangibles like these can't be quantified. For a team looking to rebuild its identity, having a figure like Ewing around could be invaluable. It raises the question, should the Dolphins prioritize keeping veteran leaders like Ewing, even if it means stretching the budget or making tough roster decisions? So, Dolphins fans, I'm turning it over to you again. What's your take on the team's draft strategy? Should they focus heavily on the trenches, or are there other areas you think need more attention? And what about Cam Ewing? Should the Dolphins do whatever it takes to bring him back, or is it time to move on? Sound off in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more exclusive Dolphins coverage. This is Chris Kane, reminding you to keep the faith and stay hopeful. Until next time, fins up!